Okay. So we just finished up week one. Really, I felt like things are progressing really well. We're starting to do, like today we did some situational play in that last team period, playing the second down, playing the third, wherever the second down ended up. We had to play the third down. It was great to hear the communication on defense. That's something that I think has been really important for our defense to be a really good defense if we can get all 11 guys really understanding their role and having great discussion and communication in their adjustments. And I felt for the first time since I've been here, that was as good as I've ever seen, and heard. They did a really good job that way. Even the second team, I thought they did a really good job. So I think our defensive coaches are doing a good job of really helping them understand our package and understanding the adjustments and the nuances with it. I'm very pleased with that. I remember my first year, it was helter skelter out there. It was different. But this year, even coming off of last season, you can see that development. Definitely with some of the players. Offensively, I'm very pleased with the progress they've made with a new offense. The first day was a really clean day. The second day got a little more challenging because the defense played a little bit more man. It was zone the first day, so how when man coverage, the coverage is tighter, so usually the completions aren't going to be like every ball's completed now. It's going to be where it's a tough throw and a tough catch. Our corners are doing a tremendous job with the young guys, Kalen, even Josh Wiggins. Nico didn't practice today because he's sick, but those young corners are stepping up and really being noticed out there. It's good to see that there's another generation of young corners like we had last year, that are in the same caliber of player. So they're young, including Nico and, Tyron and those guys that are there that are playing right now. But we have another younger group behind them, but they are very competitive and they are making plays. I think offensively, the tight ends continue to make a lot of plays. Eric Olsen had a bunch of catches the first practice, had about 5 yesterday, and then, again, he had about 3 or 4 today. Austin Smith had some good plays today. I thought our runners had a couple big runs today, both Alex and Dion. Quarterbacks made some good throws and catches. I thought Jack Costera, just singling him out, is that he was noticed today. He made a few plays today that he continued and did from yesterday. So you're seeing some of the young guys really start to see the confidence start to build right now. Quarterbacks are doing well. O-line I think is doing pretty well. Looking at some of our veteran players, Casey Roddick looks like a different Casey Roddick. Better athlete, better condition. His weight's probably right around where it should be. He's not too heavy, and he's moving around so much better. Same thing with Noah Finsky, and Frank and Jake. I think Tommy's doing well. He's our new addition at guard. He's doing some really good things too. So I guess I'm running down everything in every position, but I am pleased, very pleased with where we are after 3 days. So I just told them their challenges now is that how are we going to be able to handle and maintain this progress back to back? Because now the practice sessions are Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So we got to be able to have great performances on Tuesday and Wednesday, and the same thing backing that up on Friday and having a great scrimmage on Saturday. So that's the challenge that I want them to grow and mature and understand, is that process. And you can't have a great day and then the next day be a bad day. We got to have a level of consistency in what we're doing. And I think they have a pretty good understanding of what I'm saying. So
with the new offense, how much are you throwing at these guys this spring?
A lot. And the hard thing here, I didn't mention much about our receivers, that we're really thin at receiver right now. We only have 6 guys that are practicing. And, we're in a lot of 3, sometimes 4 receiver sets. That's not a lot of receiver depth. So we have to be, being more, 12 personnel at times because of the receiver depth. So, I think they're growing and doing some really good things, like I mentioned with Jack. I thought today, a couple of really great catches today in the red zone area that, RJ had. And we had a great end zone catch, from Montana. So those guys are making plays, but I'm concerned about our depth. We just started, right? I got 12 more of these, and so we got to find the right pace so that we can have some sustainability out there. You know how this game is. You get nicked up. So.
You mentioned the communication on defense. Players in the past were talking about how much Nate provided that on the field. Obviously, he's not here. So where are you seeing that now, and do you feel like those 5 games helped that?
Absolutely, it did, and you're exactly right there, Brian. Because when Nate was out of the equation, somebody had to take, the ownership of that. And this started with the inside backers and Quinn, and and with Robert Barnes and those guys. But now I'm hearing everybody. I'm hearing D linemen making adjustments when the backfield shifts over, things like that. They're making calls up front. Our linebackers are making calls and making sure that that everybody's on the same page. And then our secondary, they're making their calls in unison with everyone. So that's what I mean by the communication has been tremendous on all three levels. The lines are making adjustments, the linebacker level, and also the back end. Really doing well.
To that, in the past, do you think a lot of the defense relied on Nate to do that? Or
Might have been.
guys just
It's hard for me to. I've only had a year, really about a year and a half with Nate, so I don't know what it was prior to me when I got here. But I always felt that it's never just one guy. One guy doesn't line up everybody. It's making sure it's a checks and balances thing. You might even say rip, 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 and you're the linebacker. That's rip calls telling where the tight end is. He's right or left or Liz. But there's other things that go along with it. But there's echoing calls. There's making subtle adjustments in the defensive line. There's the secondary adjustments depending on the formation. I'm hearing all of that from all three levels right now.
You mentioned you're a little bit thin at receiver right now. Are there any other positions that you're kind of dealing with some injuries?
Well, we have a number of guys that are coming off of surgeries, right? So we're thin in a number of those. The running backs, another area that we're thin. So we just have to be really. We probably in some drills we probably have to slow down the pace so that we're getting quality reps instead of not quantity. So I have to do a great job with that. But our depth is what it is. I mean, I think every team is in spring ball across the country doesn't have full depth right now. Some have more depth. Some positions have more depth than others, but it's just kind of the nature of where we are right now.
With Colby Purcell graduating, moving on, who have you been working through at center this spring?
The two guys that have been taking the first and second reps have been Noah Fenske and Austin Johnson. So those two are the two that are at this time, handling the center situation right now. So they both have done a pretty good job, so far.
With Austin, he was injured your first year here.
And Carson Lee's another one, but he's playing more guard right now just because we're thin at guard, so he's got to be in the depth at guard.
So, Austin injured that first year, kind of getting back into things. Where do you see him right now? He's kind of an older player, but still an inexperienced player.
Probably both, because you're right. He's been here a couple of years, but he's performing and playing as if he's an older player. To be honest with you, so I haven't seen a lot of really competitive reps with him since I've been here. But these last few days, I've been very pleased with what he's done. Even his communication, what he's doing, making sure he's making, the directional calls that the line needs to make, and I feel like that's definitely improved too. And he has done a really nice job, coming off of both legs, having the surgeries that he's had. He's done a really good job of just getting past that, and now he's playing football.
You mentioned the tight ends are making some plays out there. Do you think that having the passing game coordinator be the tight ends coach helps them with that?
Well, that was kind of my thought process with when we built the staff offensively is to have the tight end coach be someone that's more intricate in the passing game. And Clay's done with his experience. He's he really can coach all of those skill positions. We have a great receiver coach too, but there's no question in my mind though that him being in that role ties everything together. Ties at least the interior part of the passing game together, and that usually involves the tight ends a little bit better.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
This coach.
All right. Thank you.
Should have the Final Four.